morning. Welcome to Studio 5. We are jumping into our June theme, which we announced yesterday, Find Energy. And we mentioned this on the show yesterday as well. Most of us, when we think of energy in its physical form, but truly emotional energy plays a huge role in motivation, in attitude, and in overall happiness.
As Brooke mentioned, our new theme for June is Find Energy. And Julie Hanks, owner and director of Wasatch Family Therapy, says there are all sorts of ways to feel more emotionally energized, not just the physical stuff, but the emotions inside.
Yeah, it's actually more important than physical energy. And we focus so much, like you said, on, energy drinks and staying fit physically, but emotional energy is so important. And I look at my 3-year-old daughter in the morning. She just jumps out of bed, bursting with energy, and I think I want to be like her. So with this segment, we're going to talk about how to get more of that emotional energy that's more important than the physical.
And not taking attention away from that, but don't you think the two are connected? I mean, you're more emotionally charged. Don't you think you're more physically charged as well?
Yes, they're definitely charged, but they also are separate. And, there are people who have physical problems who are still involved in life and have a lot of energy for life because they have the emotional energy reserves happening. And so they're related, but a little different.
Everybody knows what physical energy is. What's a definition of emotional energy? How do you define it?
Well, I think Mira Kirschenbaum, who's an author and researcher, she defines it as an aliveness of the mind, a happiness of the heart, and a spirit filled with hope.
I love that.
Yeah.
I know.
Quote book right there.
It's right. It's deeper. It's deeper than just, okay, I can get things done today. It's kind of how you feel in your internal world, and you have a hope and a joy in your life.
You like to actually break down the word emotion to help define this as well.
Energy in motion. Think of the E standing for energy in motion. It's energy that has to go somewhere, and emotions propel us to do something different. And so when we have emotional energy, we move. We do things that make our life better.
If someone is just overly emotional, does that count as emotional energy? I'm not sure if it does or not.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes it's not aliveness of mind and joy in your heart.
Okay,
right?
there it is right there. That comes back to it there.
Right. So we're not just talking about emotionality, but we're talking about using this deeper energy source to make your life and the other people's lives around you better.
You've got 6 great tips on ways we can boost our emotional energy, charge our inner spirit. And the first one you say is to pursue your passions.
Yes, pursuing your passions. Passions and what we feel strongly about are information about why we're on the planet. And when we pursue things that we feel strongly about, it energizes us. People often ask, how do you have a therapy practice and write songs and have kids? And I say, because I just do all the things I'm passionate about, and there's plenty of energy to go around. A good example of this is my sister Rachel Coleman, who, when her daughter was diagnosed as profoundly deaf, learned sign language, and that became her passion, to change the world for her daughter and teach all kids sign language. And so she and my other sister started Signing Time DVDs, and that energizes her. She had a purpose and a passion in her life.
It's not a chore when you love what you're doing, basically.
Right. There is no, you don't work a day in your life if you're doing what you love, right?
Yeah.
So she's a great example of pursuing a passion.
Another idea you have is, you say, to live on purpose, which is sort of along the same lines. You're actively doing stuff. Yeah.
It is. And so living on purpose is taking your passion and taking it beyond yourself, making the world a better place, and having a bigger purpose for why you're on the planet. A great example of this is Christopher Reeves, Superman. When he was thrown off a horse and became a quadriplegic, he dedicated the rest of his life to advocating and promoting research for people with spinal cord injuries. His body was not functioning as it had, but his emotional energy kept him going and changing lives for the better for the rest of his life.
Truly Superman in more than one sense of definition.
So that's a good example of how emotional energy is so important.
Those are examples of ways I think you maybe reach out and commit to other things to accomplish that inner charge, that inner energy. But there's something also to be said, I think, about the person that sets boundaries and sets limits and reserves that emotional energy for what's most important.
Yes. So just say no is the third tip. It's important to say no. And often we don't take into account what we want. We take into account what other people want
That's
us
a phrase
to
I think
do.
especially women don't think about a lot. What do I want?
What do I want? And it's amazing how many people in my therapy practice will look at me with a blank face. I have no idea what I want. I don't give that much thought.
But they know everything that everybody else wants. They're very well acquainted with that.
Exactly. So what you want really, really matters. And it's important to tune into that. And what if you said no to things you don't want to do? You'd have more emotional energy. Gasp,
yeah,
really.
exactly. How can you do that, you know?
Yeah, you might step on a few toes, but if you have energy, emotional energy left over, it's worth it.
But you point out, this is so interesting to me, I've never really seen it phrased this way. You point out for the person who thinks that they can do everything or wants to think they can do everything, if you're feeling any degree of resentment within, that's a clue you need to start saying no more often.
Resentment drains your energy. And it's just this thing that's there. And I really use that as a cue in my life that I need to change something because I don't want to feel like this. I want emotional energy, and this is draining me. An example of that is I started resenting a commute. I had a therapy office that was farther away from my house, and I'm like, I need to move my therapy office. I don't like feeling like this, so I moved the location. I use resentment as a clue that something needs to be changed. You need to make a big change so you don't have to have that energy drain in your life.
Good self-check there to be able to determine if you have that energy drain.
Yeah.
Not only things like a commute, don't you find that other people sometimes drain your energy from you? I mean, they suck it out of you.
They do. So distance from draining people. Now that may sound really brutal and harsh, but negativity is contagious. Just like joy and love are contagious, so is negativity. And there are some warning signs to watch out for. If people are chronically complaining, belittling other people or belittling you, gossiping, have rigid rules, those are all things you might want to, you don't need to cut them off, but you might want to take a step back and not spend as much time, because people who are in that negative space can poison your emotional space.
You mentioned it can be a hard thing to do. What if it's family?
Yeah, so just think. Not that either one of us have any family like
that. No, but I think sometimes family members can fit into that same category.
Yeah, it's okay to distance from family members sometimes. Like I said, you don't have to cut them off, but it's okay to set boundaries and say, you know, I can't really talk with you about that right now. I'm not interested in going there.
And leave it at that?
It's okay to say that, yeah. Sometimes, you know, we're so afraid of offending people. We're going to offend people anyway, so you might as well take care of yourself while you're doing it.
Accept it and move forward, right?
Yeah, but setting boundaries in relationships is really important. And I've said that with family members. You know, I just really can't talk with you about that today. I don't have that to give.
And I would imagine the opposite is probably true. When you're distancing yourself from those people who drain, you probably need to invest some time in the people who really will give you that emotional energy.
Yes. Investing in those important, intimate relationships is the most important thing you can do to energize your emotional life. We are born to connect with each other. And when your close family relationships are going well, there's nothing that's more energizing than that.
And picking the relationships that you want to invest in, I think is crucial. Keeping those tight circles tight.
Yeah, being selective and investing a lot and making those relationships a priority.
Sort of like Facebook. You don't have to be friends with 5,000 people on there. Find the ones that are worth it, who will give you the emotional energy, and focus your time and attention there.
Sounds good.
If you want to connect Facebook to emotional energy,
just one of those drainers of some sort. You know?
You just don't want to feel bad that you don't only have a few friends on there. Brooke has 5,000.
Thanks for bringing it up again, Julie. I feel much better now. We'll let you know. Julie's the owner and director of Wasatch Family Therapy. If you want more information, you can visit wasatchfamilytherapy.com to learn more about counseling, services, workshop, and classes. Don't bring up how many friends you have on Facebook. That might be a sore subject for you there.
Julie, thanks so much.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you. All right, coming up next.